Zoey has to be the most random but perfect rival. She walked in the room like a lost property manager, mentored Dawn to be a top contender, only to crush her dreams and leave her googly-eyed when it mattered most. Zoey understood something most rivals never do. Being nice doesn't mean going easy on people. We got to witness her make it to the top by wrecking elite coordinators with a Glameow she basically found on the streets, and by taking advantage of Pokemon contest rules which make no sense. Then she fell to the bottom, adapted, and came back even stronger. She's a great example that a setback isn't the end of your story. It's just a setup for a comeback. Zoey is a talented Pokemon contest coordinator from Snowpoint City in the Sinnoh region, childhood friends with Candice, and more importantly, Dawn's main rival. When you hear rival, you think of a guy that wants to smell you later or bring out your inner red Gyarados because he's so darn cocky. But Zoey completely broke the mold, because Zoey is defined by balance rather than ego. She treats contests like an art form, emphasizing rhythm, timing, trust, and presentation. A performance where both trainer and Pokemon have to understand each other completely, which is exactly why she becomes so important to Dawn's story. Not as a rival trying to crush her, but rather as someone forcing her to grow up by being even more supportive than the main cast, while still finding time to humble her. Visually, Zoey's design perfectly captures that if something's wrong, I'm gonna speak to the manager kind of look. The layered red hair, winter outfit, and calm no-nonsense posture make her feel grounded and mature compared to the more chaotic characters around her. Her Japanese name, Nozomi, means hope or wish, which fits surprisingly well, but it's even better than you thought. Nozomi is a type of bullet train in Japan, which is similar to the Hikari bullet train. Hikari is Dawn's Japanese name. However, the Nozomi is the fastest service due to less stops, effectively beating the Hikari. This symbolism is genius and really conveys how Dawn takes every stop along the way with Ash, while Zoey takes much less as she pretty much already understands herself, giving her the edge. Even her Pokemon reflect that mindset. Glameow, Leafeon, Mismagius, and Gallade, they all battle with elegance and precision, like Zoey rehearsed the battle 3 days earlier in her head and already accounted for your mistakes. Zoey represents healthy ambition. Yeah, she loses occasionally, but it never breaks her identity. She simply learns and comes back better than ever. It's a nice change in a world where rivals are constantly trying to surpass everyone around them. Meanwhile, Zoey's there helping people rise with her. Zoey first appears when Dawn is panicking before her contest because she lost her choker. Out comes Zoey with Glameow to give it to Dawn. She says she knew it was Dawn's because she's Batman, and then disappears. Right before the contest starts, Dawn is still fumbling around trying to get ready, and Zoey appears again to help her. She immediately clocks Dawn as a first-timer, but in a supportive older sister kind of way. Then she casually flexes her own ribbon count despite only competing in 3 contests. Dawn's like, I'll win this one, and Zoey hits her with the, yeah sure, see you in the finals. Not. Zoey's first appeal round instantly shows why she's a serious coordinator. She sends out Misdreavus and turns the stage into a horror movie, smoke everywhere, creepy skull visuals, eerie lighting, confused ray shockwave. Ash enters with Apom and Jessie's there too, pretending she's not Jessie again. Truly groundbreaking disguise work. Jesselina? Really? She couldn't even think of a name to not give herself away? Dawn makes it through the appeal round. Everyone advances to the top 8, and honestly the qualification standards for early contests were kind of generous. Then the bracket reveals Ash versus Zoey. Ash is like, easy work, ribbon first, badge next, and Zoey doesn't take too kindly to that. She refuses to shake his hand and says he clearly doesn't know the difference between contests and battles, and pretty much tells him contests aren't gym battles with glitter, lil bro, and walks off. But they kinda are. Ash is like, who cares, I'm the main character, and goes on to battle her. Glameow versus Apom. Ash calls for a focus punch right away, which is grabbed as Glameow tosses it up and gets a swift to the face. Apom goes for another swift, but Glameow fury swipes it back at Apom. Focus punch seems to clash evenly with Iron Tail until Glameow straightens its tail to bop Apom, and Ash is losing badly. He's thinking, focus punch didn't work twice, let's try it again. Zoey goes for a Shadow Claw to confuse everyone. Then Iron Tail's Apom's big head. Somehow Apom's still standing and goes for its 100th focus punch. Zoey's like, what in the hell is this plot armor? But the timer runs out before the hit lands. Victory to Zoey. After the battle, Ash says, yeah, I probably should have subscribed, which is what you should do if you've been enjoying the video so far. Our goal this month is a meaty 1,900 subscribers. I cannot thank each and every supporter enough. Enjoy the rest of the video. Zoey softens up and says, I almost got spanked and was saved by the timer. They make up and shake hands, then she tells Dawn to raise Apom. They use a bunch of screenshots to skip the next few contest battles, thank God. And suddenly it's Dawn versus Zoey in the semi-finals. Glameow versus Baneri. Baneri uses Ice Beam and Glameow nullifies it with Shadow Claw. Everyone thinks, what, Shadow Claw is a ghost type move and Baneri is a normal type, it shouldn't work. Come come on, we saw her using it against Ash like 2 minutes ago. It's not for damage. Glameow jumps up and Fury swipes Baneri's face 15 times, then goes for an Iron Tail. But Baneri grabs it with its ears, and Glameow spins it around like a merry-go-round. Baneri frees itself and makes the arena an ice rink, leaving Glameow slipping and sliding like Nicki Minaj, and punches the hell out of Glameow before using it as a trampoline. Dawn's like, now punch the hell out of it again, and Glameow shadow claws the ice to somehow make little ice shards fly perfectly towards Baneri before Iron Tailing Baneri, and time's up. Zoey wins. We get to see halfway through the final round, which is Zoey versus Jesselina. Glameow is busy lighting up Carnivine, landing, dodging, and backhanding it until it faints, and Zoey wins first place. As the crew say their goodbyes to Zoey, Dawn says, "I'll beat you one day." Zoey puts on the shades and gives her the classic backhand wave, solidifying her identity as Dawn's rival. Dawn runs into an old childhood friend, Kenny, who reveals that Zoey beat him for her first ribbon, and they bond over Zoey beating both of them. That's peak side character energy, which is all lost when Zoey turns up while the crew are fishing and she reveals she lost her last contest. After that, she watches Dawn get absolutely wrecked by a wild Weasel. Then her Glameow gets styled on too. Eventually it gets taken out, and then aquajetted while she's already out cold for fun. It then takes out Pikachu, which makes absolutely no sense, but all we can do is sigh and move on as everyone chases after the fleeing thief Weasel. Dawn ends up catching the Weasel, and Zoey stays on to catch a Shallows. The crew run into Glameow and Misdreavus in the forest, who guide them to Zoey with a sprained ankle. They help her out and take her back to her camping area. When Dawn's Weasel and Piplup start arguing, Zoey tells them they're cooked for the double performance, and Dawn had no idea what that even meant. Zoey teaches them about it and demonstrates combinations with Glameow and Shallows that create fireworks, confirming that coordinators are just stage magicians with Pokemon. Jesselina, who is totally not Jessie from Team Rocket, appears again and starts playing the bully. Zoey battles Jesselina in Dawn's place to defend her. Jesselina makes Dustox use Poison Sting while Viper spins the stings. Glameow Iron Tails them all away, and Shallows mud bombs them as target practice. Dustox's Psybeam is dodged as Glameow goes for a Blizzard boosted Shadow Claw, which somehow takes out 2 Pokemon at once despite being a single target attack. And Team Rocket zip off. Before the Heart Home contest, the crew meet Nando and find Zoey again, and Nando said the dreaded words, "I take part in gym battles and Pokemon contests," and Zoey has to hold in the inner beast to make sure nobody gets hurt. The next day, Nando is the first contestant. He starts strumming his harp with his useless Pokemon, and Zoey's like, maybe he does deserve to be called a coordinator. Wow, it's almost like Pokemon contests take no skill and anyone can join at any time. She's absolutely right. Or maybe that's what I was thinking. After a few no-names, it's Dawn's turn, and she makes Zoey look like a proud mum. When it's Zoey's turn, she makes Glameow Iron Tail a bunch of mud bombs, then use Secret Power with Shadow Claw to make light and sparkles. She then splits a Water Pulse to make rainbows everywhere and wow the crowd. The next round's bracket is out. Dawn doesn't make the cut. She's off on her crying arc, while Zoey gets to the finals versus Nando, and loses in the worst way possible, off screen, with no flashbacks. She feels awful for losing to someone that just did a contest because he got bored. One of Zoey's best contributions to the series is noticing Apom and Weasel are basically assigned to the wrong trainers. Apom clearly loves flashy appeals and contest performances. Weasel yearns for violence and gym battles. Zoey suggests they trade, and honestly she was spot on with that observation, as both Pokemon immediately thrive afterwards. When the crew sign up to compete in the Wallace Cup at Lake Valor, Zoey greets Ash and tells him he was right to compete in both contests and gym battles to be a better trainer. Ash is like, what? I said that? Dawn introduces Zoey to May, and she is so cold, just like, yo, anyway, it's my opening round, bye. She shows off a Finneon with Silverwind Safeguard and a waterfall to make more sparkles. I swear all these contests are just sparkles and bubbles. We need some more firepower. Imagine Leon throwing out a G-Max Wildfire. That would be spectacular, and actually a little bit too dangerous, come to think of it. Zoey, Dawn, Ash and May all make it through to the next round, with May being Zoey's next opponent. They begin with Glameow versus Beautifly. May uses Silverwind to take an early lead, then Glameow jumps to even the score. Wait. Who makes the rules in these contests? Anyway, there's more dodging, and this becomes a dodging contest with the best dodgers getting points. Glameow bounces shockwaves off of water, don't ask. With Zap Beautifly, then the announcer starts talking about how Glameow looks so beautiful it's almost frightening, and then they show this satanic shot of this demonic creature. Beautifly pulls out its own tricks with Silverwind to manipulate the water and provide a shield for it to sneak up on Glameow like this. Beautifly's lucky I wasn't there, or I would have backhanded it back into a Silcoon. Psychic blows Glameow Glameow back, and Aerial Ace collides head-on with Shadow Claw at the buzzer. May is the winner. Zoey is sad to lose again. Zoey is on a bit of a losing streak, but she doesn't break. Quite a bit later, Zoey runs into Fantina, the contest queen, and has a practice battle with her, and gets absolutely whooped. It looks like Fantina isn't even trying. This furthers Zoey's idea of battling and contest going hand in hand. Zoey welcomes the crew to her hometown Snow Point City, and what a warm welcome they receive, as they're immediately attacked by an Abomasnow, but it's okay because it was Candace, Zoey's childhood friend, but it really wasn't okay because that ugly squid man launched a giant rock at them. They went to the same school, so Zoey calls her Miss Senior. Talk about sucking up. Candace tells her to take a class to help her get her 5th ribbon. Soon after, Zoey's like, wow, that class was a waste of time. Wanna know how I met Glameow? And tells the crew that she found Glameow homeless and in a box on a cold, snowy day. Why are sad stories always on a cold, snowy day or rainy day? Her parents didn't let her keep it, so she secretly raised it in that little house with Candace. Team Rocket ruins the moment, so they quickly blast them off again. Zoey sticks around to watch Ash vs Candace and is overjoyed at the show they put on. I guess it was a win-win as she was rooting for both of them. Then Paul comes onto the scene, demands a gym battle, but Candace needs rest. Zoey doesn't like his attitude and hopes Candace mops the floor with him, but that's not gonna happen. So she just watches him getting parented by his long-lost dad-looking guy, Brandon. Ah, wasn't that nice? We next see Zoey battling some bluehead random and gritting her teeth as if she's struggling, but she's kinda a main character, so she just wins anyway, by beating up a Shuckle. What a cruel person. Worth because she gets her last ribbon to qualify for the Grand Festival. Zoey and Dawn are fired up as it's looking like they'll meet at the Grand Festival for a big showdown. Spoilers. And Zoey helps Dawn train for her contest. Come the day of the Sinnoh Grand Festival, which is the Pokemon contest equivalent of the Pokemon League Conference, Zoey breezes through the performance stage as usual. Gastrodon water pulses Luminion's Aqua Ring, creating Aqua Hoops for Luminion to jump through like a circus lion, which also suddenly turn into Aqua Tornadoes that Zoey can step on because she's Jesus. The main characters push all the other phonies out of the way by utilizing freeze frames. And Zoey gets a chance to get revenge on Nando in the semi-finals. Zoey sends out Miss Magius and Leafeon against Nando's Lopunny and Kricketune. An Energy Ball Thunder Wave combo gets kicked into the distance by Lopunny, and Kricketune begins its mating call. Its raw, primal energy chunks Zoey, and then its massive release blows up that thunder-waved energy ball from earlier to create a work of art. Zoey double teams, and her Pokemon randomly start glowing to give her points. Kricketune sings to try and put Zoey's Pokemon to sleep, but Miss Magius uses Lucky Chant to block crits, which blocks sleep. Anyway, Leafeon's Leaf Blade slices through Lopunny's Focus Blast, with Miss Magius narrowly missing with Psybeam. Another Leaf Blade clashes with Kricketune's X-Scissor. Dawn is in awe, like, oh, I wish this battle could go on forever. And Ash is like, are you kidding me? This blows, dude. We're lucky that there are timers in contest matches. Their Pokemon go head-to-head, trading hit for hit. Kricketune and Lopunny use Silverwind and Blizzard to make it snow. Leafeon charges towards them with Aerial Ace, while Miss Magius' Psywave makes it grow wings, and it's going to do some hefty damage on something. It lands on Kricketune's X-Scissor right as the time runs out. Nando is the loser. The crowd are ecstatic at the theatrics of the match, and it was pretty cool, but confusing. Just don't try to make sense of it. Dawn sees Zoey on the way out and says, see you in the finals. And what do you know? Dawn wins her match and sees her in the finals. Dawn leads off with Piplup and Togekiss versus Zoey's Glameow and Gallade. Togekiss and Piplup combine an Aura Sphere with Bubble Beam, but they get sliced through with Shadow Claw and Psycho Cut. Piplup charges a Hydro Pump and Glameow cancels it with Fake Out. Fake Out, which somehow worked on the second turn. Zoey cheated. Togekiss dodges Gallade's Vacuum Wave and fires off an Air Slash to make Gallade back out. Glameow prepares an Iron Tail while Gallade Signal Beams it to make some kind of Signal Beam Tornado that clashes with the Super Aura Sphere powered Hydro Pump Vortex. Surely this is unbeatable, right? Nope. Fireworks. Gallade powers up its Sword Stance, but nobody cares, while Togekiss uses Safeguard, which somehow takes a huge amount of health out of Zoey. Glameow goes for Shadow Claw and Togekiss, and oh my god, I'm actually going to cut my Wurmple off if someone comments on how Ghost-type moves don't affect normal types when Zoey goes for Shadow Claw, or how Zoey must have a backup plan. She's done it a billion times already, just stop mentioning it. Yes, she has a backup plan. Rant over. Things get messy as Gallade's Psycho Cut meets Piplup's peck, and Togekiss gets juked by Glameow jumping on its back and riding it like a pony. Piplup is like, check this out. Bounces on Gallade's head and Hydro pumps Glameow right in the ribs. Gallade starts doing a whole lot of nothing and Glameow jumps in to carry the team with a whirlpool on her Iron Tail, which turns to more stupid sparkles. Dawn goes for her final attack, a Sky Attack steroid boosted peck, and Zoey goes for her Electro Psycho Cut, which meet in the middle, causing heavy damage to both sides. But that's time. Zoey is the Grand Festival winner. Zoey and Dawn are rivals, but both in good spirits from that epic battle. Zoey invites her to celebrate, but Dawn wants to cheer for Ash for the rest of the Sinnoh League challenge. Zoey says, smell you later, and in fact, never smells her again, because she just disappears off the face of the earth, never to be seen again. Not even a smelly cameo when Ash battles Cynthia. Quite disappointing, really. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to sub and leave a like. Also comment whether or not Zoey made Pokemon contests fun for you. I think they're just like flashy but slower paced battles, which is a nice change of pace from the regular action. See you all in the next one.